About this afternight of this February 24. This is 027 here in Buenos Aires. A friend asked me about to say something and to set clear about this something. This something is, what do I ever think or live, which is love, which is sex, which is relating people. A lot of things were told about me, like about my friends. A lot of things were shown in the same character of government, when in fact is psychopaths and abominabilists. However, further forgeries lies in all the generation that needs to cover, which a lifetime I came a living has already shown. An international criminal code, as international code of justice, have been even trying to make this to work at the way of the law and justice for the reality of a lifetime suffering less humanity, all class, all kind, permanently. And not only I, so suddenly over the realities we are in. I just come over this day to say something which I already said, but somebody told me, we want you to say this clear, and we do understand your point over this wall at the setting right clear enough. This same, we just want to hear you say. Okay. This is a thing that I worked trying over my entire life. To have my genuinity, the one I am and the whole I ever wanted. Sometimes I just sat with some friends whenever they said, and even to some therapists over this process overusing, and I'm sort of the over and over redundance about using my mother and my family to trying to put in me, suppress me like a demon, which still does. And the whole of the invention, forgery, misappropriating, lying, complices all around for the making the less humanity I suffer every day, until this Billary, or Billary, like Sodoma were making permanently, and thus today, Sodoma and Kirchner's, over my person and much other. To taking benefits, but possessing and destroying, parasiting, and ruining and killing a person until the last blood drop. That I came on saying since 2003, 2004. Well, at the reality of this all, I were a lifetime trying to take me over, and a lifetime under healing process and destroying process, and never cold rest at all, and I never could get my own and rights. My rights were like a coin to trade, permanently, but all of the degenerates this which remained permanently. Ejército Argentino, Armada Argentina, and Sodoma with them. Like them, Sodoma. The degenerates of trading lives and the people's rights. Well, not only this, but also since 2004, the Kirchner's Emporium of Human Meat Market were permanently doing this on me and making all kind of powers, damages and destructions, just like I said, since my first denouncing, at the World Health Organization, United Nations, that I sent to Dr. Haralanova, representative for Spain at the World Health Organization, United Nations, Geneva, for the same character permanently remaining me. I couldn't reach out my job to saving money to make a simple send, a post send. So it were all through emails. Unusual, but suddenly it were. Then this, like I said, where this story about like a woman. You understand the character and the gender of a woman in the middle of power that generates. So there's this woman in a town, and she crosses by into a power sickle one and rapes her. So she goes in front of a judge and tells to the judge, I were raped by this. And the judge sees her and says, no, you're a whore. So she goes away. At the next opportunity crosses by this one again and rapes her again. And she goes in front of a judge and says, this one raped me. And the judge says to her, no, you are a whore. So suddenly it comes a third time, and the third time she gets raped again. So she goes and says, friends, and says all around, that one raped me. And this degenerate in powers just like this, went all around and making disaster and making damages, and she published the whole of the reality of this one that done to her, and the sickle degenerate or raised a whole rot all over rivers to destroy her about all of powers around. This is what in this character left the picture, left the view. I, and not only I, and much other kingdom suffering. In this disgusting Kirchner's sickle shit world. And Sodoma, Ejército y Armada Argentina. Well, so suddenly we're trying to make my life, and over this character of reality, I am weak and suffering daily. But this sick of damn shit, in pardon for a lot of victims, as those who really were trying for some decency. Murdered, raped, killed, destroyed, mutilated, ruined every day. Okay, sorry for that. About my life, I were all my time trying to do something which will be really about my genuinity. Not need to be like any other, not need to having nothing of no one but my own. And all the time I've been trying to build on something, and all the time I crossed by, weirdly, for the normal human conscience around. So, such a very vermin sane life, my God. All the time being trampled, ruined, robbed, abused, destroyed, ill, manipulated over the times when I ever were not awakened. So when I woke, and I really woke up, I could see what happened, but the vermin were still all around, trying to make in the whole of the ways and studying day and night how to destroy me, for they were taking opportunism, like vermin and demons, and degenerates us all the time. That lives for this. Well then, there must struggle. So in the middle of this all and at my real way, in my real life, I just were awaiting for my miracle. Not a magic thing. Mean Adonai and mean I do something with my life, like my capacity, like the one I am. Suddenly in the middle of this all happened much water, but well, let's go into the point. Love. Love is a very, very, I cannot say substance. There is...
Análisis finalizado.
Sorry. Avast. There is a reality over existence. God made them us be, created us for we to be for love. Love doesn't mean only feeling. Love is not only having the character of the emotional. Love is not only the reality of the sensitivity about how to appreciate the most of all, which has the character of the beautiful, the precious. Love is about understanding what does it mean, the value of a life, of the honesty, of the decency, of the right making, of the good, of the giving, of the receiving, of the respect or place, of the who we really are, of the truth, and above this all, ever justice. Without justice ain't no love to breathe, ain't not love to having no place, 'cause justice is the foundation for the right and truth and making and orders and respect. And whenever there is chaos and corruption and all illing and destruction and damages and evil, if there is no justice, love is just a cloth for the generates. So suddenly, loving with everything I am, with everything I can give, with everything I can receive, with everything I can hold, with everything I mean. Love is more than we can consciously simply hold in a breath, in a moment, in a life, in an hour, in a second, or even in the reality of what we can process and understand. The bottomless, the unmeasurable character of love goes right away from everything that the man and woman can understand me. And I am for it. And everything like, which it means, even whenever there is to execute because of love of much more. I mean execute the shit and clean the way and make it the right way. Whenever there is somebody for salvation, we understand saving is a very, very judgment process. There's not saying grace, and grace gives you all. No, grace is not a prostitution. Mercy is not a prostitution. Adonai judges, and grace is whenever you go genuinely in front of God and in front of the truth and justice, and you say, I take my responsibility and I take the character of caring what I should do and making my job for the making the best and making that well as ever I can embrace and grow, and taking off everything that I used to, but whenever you are not the enemy. So suddenly, praise is not for demons. Grace is not for the generates in very conscious character for the making destructions and all abominations and say, no, that is going to redeem me, everything will be okay, I'm just doing my job. And victims is a different character and a different situation that I can understand perfectly well. And also not putting Adonai apart because of that want. When we're talking in the man's life, in the woman's life, love is not only the glad thing. Love is even holding pain, illness, damages, destructions, but not let you abandoned in front of somebody that goes about to kill you. Putting a no, establish an order and saying, I closed these windows and I said no to the locked doors about the ones to help me, and I put the locked door at the ones that wants to kill me or are destroying me. And you go to the God and ask for the victims around us and ask for justice about everything that got to be justice done. So suddenly the reality of this all, love implies is too much for love or anything like you can simply or like you can just at the human character of what you can feel like a victim or like a person that transgreds or like a person that suffers pain or harms or issues or any injury. Suddenly love transcends the whole of the reality. But you gotta learn about to recognize what is what and who is who. So this means maturity, which I am making. This means a point overcrowing in the way of God. Love is really farther anything that the world ever gave. And for me, love is my life. And about sex, today happens a lot of things around sex. Today happens a lot of corruption, violence, conflicts, needs, problems, insatisfaction, impossibilities to reach out, impossibilities to be completed, impossibilities to understand each other. There are happening around sexuality and sex a lot of wars within and outside. There happens a lot of damages between gender and between sexuality. There is a lot of corruption, a lot of pain, and peoples with too much needs and quests, which never found and never can hold the needs of something as ideals and something as trying to make him be, and seeking all around and making the way of not really best to getting. And the reality is, what do I do for myself that I can give to each other? Have you ever thought about healing and growing, but in the right way, not seeking for those ways and elements or peoples or things that can destroy you more, thinking that there are solutions which never cave in, nothing but more problem and more damages. and getting up the best way for you to giving the best of you. So you can give a best one and the best one other, making something, building together. Suddenly love in the sex means a lot of other. How do I make the other feel better about my own? And how do I share myself with that one that expects something from me for being the best giving? And the reality of the sex is a very complexity over the days we are in. And suddenly there is like not saying to the people, no, you don't have sex until you get married, which will be the perfect to do. Being in front of God made some best way. The reality of the sex is so at this world like a normal cup of coffee to taking, and you just go at the sexual reaction whenever you meet somebody which likes you and has the feeling and the chemistry of the scheme for the having with you in passion in the life you have. So suddenly there is a very complex, delicate thing to talking. But suddenly today we are in a very destruction all of the world, and disgusting demons making disasters over sex permanently and destroying people over sex. So there is like to be careful about. Just like to say, you get crossed by with someone that sedates you, manipulates you, and you go just for the, I felt this attraction, I couldn't avoid it, I need it. And you get in the middle of a situation that says, well, you are going to stay here and I'm going to invite my friends. And the friends gain 10, 100, 200, and you are away. And this is not like to put in your fear. This is like you to understand this is not a joke. This is happening all around the world, and I suffer over my generation and this disgusting damn country with the burden of the victims and innocents every day. I have cried thousands of friends and still got a lot of more under this situation, as man as woman, and not only man and woman. But well, there is like to understand we are in a very cratery of we gotta understand what we're doing and understand what happens around and trying to preserve who we are. And for me sex is the one I love. For me sex is my privacy, my moment with only one. For me sex is what I want to give in the privacy, to making the best of a union, to giving the best of me for the making the right institution, which it means. Sex is an institution which the same corruption since Adam and Eve, since the same fall that came on happening, and the same destruction in the enemy of God came on corrupting and destroying. Sex is not dirty except for the corruption we are with. Sex is an institution and it's a source of humanity. From sex we all came. And others from holiness, like Yeshua and Ali and Moshe. But well, there is the institution of the sex, the union, the character of the giving the reality, of the sharing the reality, the having the moment of the consoling over the humanity and the creation, further the character of the Adam 9 knew and understood. The flesh needs the whole of the instincts, the basics for there to exist and proceed and prevail. What I command it to be. We are not anymore. the pleasure of the sex in the love to conceiving life and cooperating over the life-giving with love. And we are in so much corruption and temperatures. And for me, sex is with my love, and only with my love. And in my entire life I've been suffering all kind of degenerations over this kind were making me like I already shown. Like to telling the things they say to me, and like to doing the things they do to me. And to mine, my generation, everyone that I love. Every day. Whenever you understand there is a cycle that generates in powers, you can understand a good execution in time is amazing. But the reality is this: we have a war, and we should understand what we are in and what happens, for we to understand what's meaning about survival, prevail of who we really are, not shit. So suddenly I set you with this. There's not for condemnate a person with corruption, with misappropriating of life, but the same that generates like this, which produces that kind of things and lucrates also with the human misery. There is for making grow and understand, trying to give something around. Let's doing the right thing. Let's understanding what this is all about. Let's try to keep a chance that we will survive it, even ourselves, like I've been saying all longer, like I've been showing. Survive our humanities, our points, our moments, our corruptions, our situations, our miseries, and also our needs. And not only the needs, but also the whole that we carried in a lifetime with no healing and not understanding and not processing and not maturing. How to survive your existence, and how do you survive the around? We are sociable. We cannot be alone. We are part of a world, of a society, of a community. And in this society, in this community, we give, we receive, or we destroy, and we are destroyed. We can take, we can give, we can replace sometimes, but there are things that are unreplaceable or irreplaceable. So suddenly, the reality of this all is, where are we? What do we do? Love and sex is exactly what we're meant since the beginning for we all to have. The whole of the history and every name that passed by through it, all longer. We should learn not to blow it away. We should learn not to blow us away. Let's give it a good chance. Over the last key I gave and I said something else, like HTTPS, www in Spanish, las caras de los muertos y las enfermedades de los asesinos. .int in a systems recall like ARPAS, F9 over this last key, and at the Torah you can read at Proverbs Shvotlik Snachaltikan. You can read over Spotli Beverchat Lasich Nusmolina 21 and 37. There is exactly 4 about this, and even at the Yashrin Road, the Evangelion of Truth, at Kepha, Saint Peter. This is the chapter 20 and the 27 and 58 will be at the Hebrew version, and the English version, which were a little reviewed, there is the chapter 55. So suddenly there's like to giving a share about this all around, just like I came and saying, I hope something good after all, like I know it will, to come about as well. Like I always do, the whole of the testimony of the name of Yahweh. I send you the blessed ever. And Yeshua has said, Mashiach Tara Elachachai. Avon Vichat Chachaidish Natika Nachan. To be with you all. And I hope I can rest sometime as well and giving a better me that I always will try. Shalom. This is 054 in Buenos Aires. This is a very extensive video, and I hope it to be good to share. I say nighty night to everybody.